Hi guys, and welcome to Classic Rock, Country Music Facts and Trivia. Today's video is what caused Buddy Holly's plane to crash 65 years ago. Don McLean coined the term in his 1971 hit American Pie, The Day the Music Died. The song about the decline of the 60s starts with the death of three young musicians, the end of the happy 50s, he told Ford magazine. Investigators point quickly changing wintry weather conditions that were not communicated to the inexperienced pilot as the cause of the crash that left such a tragic mark on the music industry. It is believed that shortly after takeoff, pilot Peterson entered an area of complete darkness and one in which there was no definitive horizon, that the snow conditions and the lack of horizon required him to rely solely on flight instruments for aircraft attitude and orientation, wrote the Civil Aeronautics Board charged with investigating the crash. The musician had just finished a leg of the Winter Dance Party tour at the Surf Ballroom in Clear Lake, Iowa on the evening of February the 2nd. 24-day tour kicked off in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and crisscrossed Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa in the dead of winter. Organizationally speaking, the tour was a complete catastrophe. The shows were often scheduled 100 miles apart from one another as they zigzagged through one of the deadliest winters the Midwest had seen in decades, and the worst possible transportation available, states the ballroom's website. The musicians crammed into a drafty bus to perform in small ballrooms and theaters, and by February 1st, Carl Brunch, Holly's drummer, had left with frostbitten feet. Holly, the 22-year-old driving force of the tour, had enough of broken-down buses and freezing temperatures and chartered a four-seater plane to get to the shows next night in Moorhead, Minnesota, according to the Civil Aeronautics Board's accident report. Fargo, North Dakota was the nearest airport. The musician asked his guitarist, Tommy Alsop, and his bass guitarist, Waylon Jennings, to join. The tour included Valens, Richardson, Dion and the Belmonts, Frankie Sardo, Jennings, Alsop, and Bunch. 17-year-old Valens had never been on a small plane before and asked Alsop for his seat. According to the Encyclopedia of Oklahoma History and Culture, the two flipped a coin and Valens won the seat. Jennings gave up his seat to a flu-addled Richardson, according to the accident report. Jennings told the Country Music Hall of Fame that his last conversation with Holly would always haunt him, and even though the words were in jest. After Jennings told Holly that he wouldn't be on the plane, Holly said, "I hope your damn bus freezes up again." Jennings replied, "I hope your old plane crashes." Holly, Valens, and Richardson got to the airport just after 1:30 a.m. The air was a brisk 15 degrees, and winds blew at around 36 miles an hour at Mason City, Iowa airport. Cold front dropped from the western Minnesota through Nebraska, with a secondary cold front across North Dakota. According to the report, widespread snow preceded the fronts along with gusty winds. The temperature and moist content was such that the moderate to heavy icing and precipitation existed in the clouds along the route. Air traffic controllers gave 21-year-old pilot Roger Peterson weather reports several times from 5:30 p.m. until takeoff. The pilot had been flying for only about 5 years as a contract commercial pilot and flight instructor for the company that owned the plane. He was a young married man who built his life around flying, the accident report said. Two controllers gave weather reports to Peterson, which included conditions at Mason City and Fargo, along with one waypoint. Unfortunately, the National Weather Service issued two flash advisories at night indicating worsening conditions. Neither communicator could recall having drawn these flash advisories to the attention of pilot Peterson. Mr. Dwyer said that he accompanied pilot Peterson to the ATCS. No information was given to them indicating instrument flying weather would be encountered along the route. Peterson was also certified for visual flight rules, or clear weather, not instrument flight rules, flying in clouds. He passed a written exam for instrument flying, but failed the practical flight check 9 months before the crash. He logged 52 hours of instrument training, all taken with conventional artificial horizon instrument, a gyro horizon. The gyro horizon, now called an attitude indicator, shows the pilot if he's flying parallel to the earth, up or down. The indicator in the ill-fated Beechcraft Bonanza was a different type of indicator, an attitude gyro, exactly the opposite from that depicted by the conventional artificial horizon, according to the accidental report. The report pointed out that the ATCS was responsible for giving the pilot all available information and to interpret the data if requested. At Mason City, at the time of takeoff, the barometer was falling, the ceiling and visibility were lowering, light snow had begun to fall, and the surface winds and were aloft were so high, one would reasonably have expected to encounter adverse weather during the estimated 2-hour flight, the report continued. The analysis section of the accident reported painted a tragic picture. There was evidence that the weather briefing consisted solely of the reading of the current weather at en route terminal and terminal forecasts for the destination. Failure of the communicators to draw these advisories to the attention of the pilot and to emphasize their importance could readily led the pilot to underestimate the severity of the weather situation. The air traffic controller, Dwyer, watched the plane take off around 1 in the morning. Dwyer told investigators that the plane took off normally and climbed. After about 5 miles, the lit tail of the plane descended gradually and then disappeared. Air traffic tried to radio the pilot, but got no response. First of all, I think I would have checked and see how long the pilot was working, how long, his background and stuff. I mean, that's kind of important, even especially on them little planes, I mean, you just kind of got to blindly trust the big ones, but those little planes, I would say, give me your credentials and, how long you've been flying, and 5 years wouldn't be enough for me. That's me. God rest their souls. If you have not yet, please subscribe here. Please like this video. You guys have a great day. God bless you. I'm praying for you.